With that being said, it's Halloween, folks. Happy Halloween. And hell, there is nothing more scary than bringing up Hillary Clinton here in the news. But that is our lead story of the day, is Hillary Clinton and the White House basically blaming Republicans for what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband, folks. This one it's a head spinner, it's a mind bender, but we're going to try to break it down for y'all here today. The story of the alleged home invader who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, gets more and more complex as time progresses. New information has surfaced surrounding the identity of the alleged attacker. He supposedly is a 42-year-old man named David DePepe. He is an illegal alien from British Columbia, Canada, who resides in Berkeley, which you all know is a leftist area. DePepe has a criminal record in the San Francisco area, but of course, he has not been deported due to the sanctuary city status of the area. Just lovely. The initial story was that DePepe broke in through a back window and assaulted Paul Pelosi. That story seems less and less credible as more information comes to light. This whole thing is seriously just, like I said, it's like a web of weird stuff coming out about this guy. The left is saying that he's Republican and conservative, like a far right. The right is saying that, no, he's a leftist and that the story is fictitious in some way, shape, or form. Again, we're going to try to break it down here on the Bald Brad Show, but here is Fox News talking about the same thing we just spoke of.
A homeless nudist. He was living in a storage locker, and he was an illegal alien from Canada with a rap sheet in San Francisco, we believe, so he should have been deported, but San Francisco is a sanctuary city.
Sounds like a far-right extremist to me, right, folks? Folks, I'm telling you, I don't think this guy, from what I've seen so far, my mind is open to change. I don't think this guy is a far-right extremist, and I want to show you why. So, this is where supposedly he was living, okay? Now, I can't zoom in on this, but for those that are listening, hanging from a tree out front of this house, or maybe in the backyard, I imagine this is more so the backyard, is a pride flag with a giant marijuana plant leaf as where the stars would be on the American flag. And then where you would have the stripes, there's a bunch of marijuana leaves as well. And then the pride flag, just the colors. If this was somebody far-right extremist, probably not going to have that hanging in their backyard or from a tree. Now, could it be possible? Sure. But also up in the window up there says Black Lives Matter. That is not a far extremist right ideology, like whatsoever. Mind you, I'm a conservative Republican. I'm not far right. I tend to see both those in combinations not being a far right ideology, but rather a progressive left, far left ideology. But they're going to continue to blame Republicans for this whole thing. It's truly astonishing. We have here from Fox News saying the man accused of breaking into the house of Nancy Pelosi, California home, and assaulting her husband brought zip ties to encounter Paul Pelosi. David DePepe, 42, was found inside Pelosi's home struggling with Paul Pelosi over a hammer at 2 a.m. on Friday. He reportedly called out for Nancy when first entering the home and then attempted to tie up Paul using a bag of zip ties he brought. An unnamed source was briefed on this whole incident and told Axios. DePepe, a conspiracy theorist who frequently posted online, and this is where things try to tie in this guy to being a far-right extremist. Well, he posted online and has been mentally ill for a long time. Tubb, ex-life partner of this individual, DePepe, told ABC7 that DePepe has a daughter with them of a previous relationship, and she herself is a jailed nudist activist convicted on a child abduction charge. Like I said, you guys, this is a web of stuff that's just been released. But it's not going to stop people from pushing a far-right extremist and tying it to January 6th, which we'll get to in a moment. Quote, he is mentally ill. Yeah, no shit. He went into somebody's house and put him on zip ties. Yeah, obviously the guy's mentally ill. He has been mentally ill for a long time, she told the outlet. This is who we were just speaking of, Tubb, the nudist activist. Adding that she had split with him roughly 7 years ago. She went on to detail one incident when DePepe reportedly came home after disappearing for almost a year out of the blue. He came back in very bad shape. He thought he was Jesus. He was constantly paranoid, thinking people were after him, and it took a good year or two to get back to, being halfway normal. So clearly this guy was insane, or at least according to this lady, being allegedly insane. Paul was rushed to the hospital for surgery, for a fractured skull after the incident. Police say he was struck at least once with the hammer, but he's expected to make a full recovery. And thank God, again, we hound the Democrat Party, we hound the progressive left, we hound Nancy Pelosi, Biden, all that. They're still human beings, and I don't want any ill will to happen to them. I'm glad that he's making a full recovery. That is a terrible thing that happened to this man, and a terrible thing that happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband, as well as her. She's the one that has to deal with this whole debacle as well, probably fearful of her life, and that's not a good thing. And that's why I think it's important for Republicans and conservatives to state the obvious. We don't want this to happen. We didn't want this to happen. This is not a conservative or Republican thinking ideology that we support in any manner. And that's why it bugs me so much when they try to attack conservatives and lump them in, as well as Republicans, to January 6th, that this is an ideology, this is something that all conservatives and Republicans hold, and that they wanted this to happen, and yada, yada, yada. Couldn't be furthest from the truth. I don't know a single Republican, and this is anecdotal, but even a conservative out there that does a podcast or a show going, yeah, January 6th, what a great idea, man. That holds to my values. That was a good idea. Everybody's like, no, those guys are idiots. They deserve what's getting to them. They destroyed property. They should be held accountable for their actions. It's not a good thing. But somehow, even though I do a video on it a few days ago, you get all these idiot progressive leftists coming and going, oh, you're an idiot, Brad. You're an idiot. You support the actions of January 6th without watching the entire video because they're a bunch of knuckleheads. And they watched 30 seconds of it, me going, MSNBC gets destroyed by Trump supporters because they're asking questions and basically showing the hypocrisy of what the reporter's talking about and what's been pushed by the progressive left. So rather than watching the whole thing and seeing my true thoughts on it, they'd rather just jump to a narrative. Oh, he's a Nazi. Oh, he believes in January 6th and all this other crazy crap. Well, months before, for DePepe, police accused him of attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband on Friday. David Pepe had been drifting further into the world of far-right conspiracies. This is what they're doing. This is by the Los Angeles Times, by the way. Also anti-Semitism and hate, according to the Times review of his online accounts. In a personal blog that DePepe maintained, posts include such topics as manipulation of history, hollow hoax, which I'm assuming is saying the Holocaust is a hoax, and it's okay to be white. He mentioned 4chan, a favorite message board of the far right. He posted videos about conspiracies, including COVID-19 vaccines and the war in Ukraine being a ploy for Jewish people to buy land. I haven't looked into any of this. I've never even been on 4chan, so I don't know what the heck's going on there. But clearly the guy seems to be suffering from some sort of mental illness based on everything that we've read so far and also side research I've done. DePepe screeds into posts about QAnon, an unfounded theory that former President Trump is at war with a cabal of Satan worshipping elites who run a child sex ring and control the world. An August 23rd entry titled Q, DePepe wrote, either Q is Trump himself or Q is the deep state moles within Trump's inner circle. So clearly this guy is really into conspiracy theorists. There's something going on. Doesn't mean he's a far-right extremist. He's literally registered for the Green Party, you guys. So I think that's important because they keep pushing this whole extremist, right-winger, probably be lumped in with January 6th. That comes from Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House. And they're doing this because they need to keep utilizing January 6th and that right-wingers, conservatives, Republicans are a threat to democracy. They're a threat to our elections. Vote blue because of look what they're doing. This guy is registered Green Party. You can go look that up. Meaning that is not right-wing at all. That's actually left. That is progressive left. But somehow, because this guy's on 4chan, he's into conspiracy theories, all of a sudden he's far right. With a Black Lives Matter poster in the window, with a freaking pride flag hanging in the backyard. Yeah, no, this guy's definitely extremist. I don't know what this guy is, nor do I care. What he did was wrong. I'm bringing up the political aspect of it because that is what they are pushing. We should all be going, regardless of political party, the guy did something idiotic, and thank God Nancy Pelosi's husband is okay, and then he's gonna make a full recovery, and the guy that did it, DePepe, should get everything that's coming to him according to what is in the books of the law. But somehow we have to twist this into right and left and all this other stuff. Again, the reason why I'm bringing this up, making it right versus left, is because one side is saying it's right and the other side saying it's the left. And I'm coming in middle ground going, I don't know. I just know he's registered Green Party and it seems like he's going further left. But at the end of the day, again, I don't care what the guy is. He did something stupid. DePepe's daughter told the Times that her father wrote the blog. She said that she and her mother were reeling from the news that DePepe had been arrested in connection with the attack of Paul Pelosi. I'm a little shocked, she said, but not really that shocked in all honesty. Authorities have not revealed a motive for the attack at the Pelosi home, but let's jump to a motive, you guys. Let's pull what Democrats, progressive left, Hillary Clinton, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House, let's push it. Let's push it all on a motive that none of us have. I don't know what the guy was thinking. Sounds like he was batshit crazy. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, did something stupid, but somehow we're going to push, he's a right extremist because he's on QAnon and reading all these blogs and writing all this crazy stuff, doing Satan worshiping, which, by the way, is not part of a conservative or right-wing thing. We follow the Judeo-Christian values that this country was founded on, for the most part. That doesn't mean you can't be on outside of that, right? But most follow at least those values, those creeds. Now, as I mentioned, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton jumped on the bandwagon on Saturday, joining a number of liberal pundits and elected Democrats who blame the Republican Party for an alleged violent attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. Clinton echoed the sentiments, if not the words, of people like President Joe Biden and MSNBC anchor Andrea Mitchell, who suggested that the rhetoric and politically charged anger that had spanned the January 6th riot on Capitol Hill had spread to Pelosi's San Francisco home. Really? Really? We're going to do this? Where we're going to try and attach some idiotic thing of January 6th all the way to San Francisco of somebody attacking her husband with zero evidence? But midterms are coming up, you guys. As I mentioned, for those that are avid listeners of the Bob Bright Show, have I not said since the beginning, when Karine Jean-Pierre started switching the whole narrative of going, well, it's Republicans' fault. This is Republicans' fault. That's Republicans' fault. Going, everything and anything is going to be Republicans' fault going into the midterms here, because that's all they got is January 6th, which is why you got the hearings, which is why you got Hillary Clinton back in the news, which is why you got Barack Obama and everybody else blaming the Republicans, going, oh, look at January 6th, they're a threat to democracy, they're extremists, and all these other things. Quote, the Republican Party and its mouthpieces now regularly spread hate and deranged conspiracy theories, Clinton tweeted. Says the lady that blamed everybody and anything for her losing the election. And I mean, just within itself, her blaming the Republican Party and being mouthpieces for deranged conspiracy theories is literally spreading a conspiracy theory by blaming Republicans with zero evidence of motive that have come out from this guy. Let that one sink in. I mean, the fact that you could say that in one sentence when we don't know the motive of this guy has not come out at all yet, that she's going to sit there and say that Republican Party's spreading conspiracy theories, all the while she's spreading conspiracy theories by blaming the Republican Party for this guy's actions. She went on to say, it's shocking, but not surprising, that violence is the result. As citizens, we must hold them accountable for their words and the actions that follow. Wow. Hold them accountable for their actions and words. That's so rich coming from the progressive left. And talk about violence. You mean the $1.5 to $2 billion that the progressive left, Antifa, the Democrat Party, and Black Lives Matter did for the matter of years under the Trump administration by burning our cities to the ground? Is that the violence and action you're talking about? Or is it the violent actions of the increase in murder and homicide rates in black cities, but are going to blame it, like Whoopi Goldberg did on The View, on red states? That manipulation of data. I don't know, though, but we're all conspiracy theorists, you guys. Everything that's happening is not happening. Very similar when you have the MSNBC reporter standing outside. It's all peaceful protest here, mostly peaceful, while there's buildings burning in the background. It's fine. Nothing to go here. Just everything's peaceful, as the people are throwing rocks at his face and everything like that. Buildings on fire. A bunch of people masked up. It's just unbelievable. It's really unbelievable, you guys. Clinton shared an article from the Los Angeles Times that identified alleged attacker David DePepe, which I just talked about, who had been arrested and charged with attempted homicide, among other charges, as someone who spread QAnon, other far-right bigoted conspiracy theories. But we're not going to talk about all the other stuff of him being in the Green Party, of the Black Lives Matter poster, of him being freaking insane for a while, or allegedly insane. You know, the fact that he has marijuana, pride flag in his backyard, all these other things. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to hone in on a little bit of stuff that he wrote. SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk fired back in a since-deleted tweet with an alternative theory, sharing an article from the Santa Monica Observer that made a series of claims, not the least outrageous of which being that Pelosi had brought DePepe home with him from a local gay bar. I have no idea if that's true. I'm not even going to sit there and talk about that one, because who the hell knows? There's a tiny possibility there might be more to this story than meets the eye, Musk tweeted. The report published by the Observer appears to be false, however, which may be what ultimately led to Musk deleting the tweet. Washington Post reporter tweeted, quote, incorrect and already retracted reporting by a Fox affiliate in SF and a fake story in the Santa Monica Observer have powered viral misinformation about the Paul Pelosi attack, amplified by a ton of people with huge platforms, including the chief twit. We're just talking about Elon Musk. That's his new title now, chief twit, ever since he's taken over Twitter. MSNBC producer Kyle Griffin added, the outlet Elon Musk cited to spread dangerous lies has a history of making conspiratorial, false, and hoax-filled claims, including that Hillary Clinton died during the 2016 campaign and was replaced by a lookalike. Now, there has been pictures of Hillary Clinton's double out there, and from my understanding, I'm not saying she was replaced, but it was from my understanding that there has been times where her double has showed up to events, and it wasn't in fact Hillary Clinton, but rather her double. Now, it looked like she was going to die in 2016. I mean, she literally passed out a few times, or allegedly passed out. I mean, there was all sorts of stuff going on with her, coughing all the time. She seems to have health problems. I mean, there's been a constant theme here of the Democrat Party nominating people that clearly have some seriously health issues. Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, the mega one. Look at that guy. A lot of people still think Joe Biden is dead, by the way, just the way that he walks and talks and rambles, being chauffeured out on a gurney. I'm being facetious. Obviously, Joe Biden's not dead. Don't come at me, leftists. I know that you've been swarming to my channel a little bit, especially the one with the MSNBC destroys a reporter over the January 6th events. You really love that one. If you guys haven't seen that episode, go over. If you want to have some fun in the comments, go over to that episode because there's a lot of them in there commenting and just being outraged over me saying that the January 6th events was a bunch of crap from a bunch of idiots who stormed the Capitol, and that they did $1.5 million in damages compared to the $2 billion that Black Lives Matter and the Antifa did during the Trump administration, meaning it was a freaking drop in the bucket compared to the damage that they did over the course of many cities in America, and they got all livid about it. Oh, he's all for January 6th, even though I said I wasn't. Bunch of idiots. Go check it out. You guys will have fun. Human Events senior editor Jack Posibek, and I'm mispronouncing his name, I apologize, shared a message he said came up from Karp, likely the person behind the long-banned Twitter account, who argued whether or not the story Musk tweeted was true wasn't really the issue. Instead, he said that was important, that there was an alternative viewpoint, whether it was accurate or not, was allowed to exist on the platform at all. Basically saying before you would just been removed, you would have been banned instantly rather than looking at a different viewpoint and analyzing and allow the reader to come to a determination whether something was false or something was true or having their own opinion about it. That was the main focus of we're allowing free speech to thrive once again on a platform that was supposed to be all about free speech, but no longer is about free speech. But Hillary Clinton can go on there and blame Republicans for all this stuff and could be completely fine on Twitter before and be fine now. But then when you're on the conservative side or the Republican side of the aisle, if you say anything that might remotely be tiny bit false, you get banned or censored, or you literally say something that's true and you get banned or censored. I mean, look at Jordan B. Peterson for what he said. I mean, there's been times where he was removed because he said a biological male was in fact a male. You had the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee do the exact same thing. Or was that the editor-in-chief of the Federalist, but the Babylon Bee was also doing the exact same thing he was, as well as Charlie Kirk, all were suspended for saying that literally a biological male was in fact a male and got suspended on Twitter for it. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.